Eli Harper cleaned the horse stalls as the sun began to set over New Eden Colony. Sweat ran down his face while he scooped dirty hay into a wheelbarrow. This was his life, day after day. He was just a stable boy, nothing more. "Eli, are you done yet?" called a voice from outside. "Almost, Ms. Patel," Eli shouted back to the stable owner. He worked faster, his arms aching from the long day of labor. New Eden Colony was one of the last places on Earth where people still used horses. Most big cities had flying cars and robots now, but this small farming community kept to the old ways. They said it was better for the planet. The horses weren't normal horses, though. Scientists had changed them years ago to make them stronger and smarter. They could pull heavier loads and needed less food. Eli didn't mind his job most days. He liked the horses, and they seemed to like him back. Sometimes he would talk to them when no one was around. He told them about his dreams of leaving New Eden someday to see the stars. "All done," Eli said as he put away the last of his tools. He patted the nose of his favorite horse, a brown mare named Willow. "See you tomorrow, girl." The walk home took Eli past fields of corn and wheat that stretched far into the distance. Above him, the clear dome that protected New Eden from the harsh outside air glowed softly. The colony leaders said the world beyond the dome was still healing from the wars of the past. Only authorized traders were allowed to leave through the main gate. Eli reached his small house at the edge of the settlement. He lived alone since his parents had died 3 years ago, from the same fever that took many colonists. He was 18 now, old enough to keep their house, but young enough that people still treated him like a child. After a simple dinner of bread and vegetable stew, Eli sat on his porch and looked up at the stars visible through the transparent dome. The night was clear and the stars seemed especially bright. One star in particular caught his eye. It appeared to be moving, growing larger by the second. "That's not a star," Eli whispered to himself as he stood up. The light was moving too fast, coming straight toward the colony. A loud crack filled the air as the object broke through the sound barrier. Colony alarms began to wail, their harsh noise echoing across the fields. The flying object was close enough now that Eli could see it wasn't a meteor. It was something made of metal with strange glowing patterns along its sides. The object crashed into the western hills beyond the farm fields. The impact shook the ground under Eli's feet. He should have gone to the community shelter like they were taught during emergency drills. Instead, his curiosity pulled him toward the crash site. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and the dome's weather system released rain to put out any fires from the crash. Eli grabbed his rain jacket and headed out into the artificial storm. Lightning flashed above as he made his way through muddy fields toward the western ridge. "This is crazy," he told himself, but he didn't turn back. Something about the crash called to him in a way he couldn't explain. It took nearly an hour of difficult hiking before Eli reached the crash site. The rain had stopped, but steam rose from the wet ground. What he found made him freeze in amazement. Half buried in the hillside was a ship unlike anything he had ever seen. It was black as night, with a smooth surface that seemed to swallow the moonlight. The shape reminded Eli of pictures he had seen in old books. It looked like a dragon with wing-like structures and a long, tapered body. Strange markings glowed with soft blue light along its hull, similar to the patterns of dragons in ancient stories. As Eli approached, a section of the hull slid open with a hiss. He should have run away. Instead, he stepped closer and peered inside. A woman lay on the floor of the ship, clearly hurt. At least she looked mostly like a woman. Her skin had a faint blue tint, and what Eli first thought were jewels embedded in her face were actually scales. They shimmered like opals across her temples and cheekbones. Her hair was white as snow, flowing around her shoulders. Her eyes opened suddenly, vertical pupils like a cat's, surrounded by irises the color of the summer sky. She saw Eli and gasped in pain as she tried to move. "Please," she said in a language Eli didn't understand. Then she seemed to concentrate for a moment before speaking again. "Please help. They're coming." "Who's coming?" Eli asked, already moving to help her. "Are you not from Earth?" The woman looked at him with surprise. "You don't know? After all this time?" She winced in pain as Eli helped her sit up. "My name is Lysithea, last royal of the Dragon Imperium. I'm Eli, just Eli Harper, stable boy from New Eden Colony." Lysithea's eyes widened as she looked more closely at him. She reached out a hand with slight scales on the back and touched his face gently. "The resonance pattern. It's in you. After all our searching, you were here on this backwater planet." Eli didn't understand what she meant. "You're hurt. We need to get you to a doctor. No! Lysithea grabbed his arm with surprising strength. No one can know I'm here. The Voidborn followed me. They will destroy everything to find me. And now you. Me? Why would anyone care about me? Before Lysithea could answer, the colony's warning sirens blared again, a different pattern this time. Eli recognized it from the emergency drills. It meant danger from outside the colony. Lysithea's face went pale. They're here already. She struggled to stand. Help me activate the ship's cloaking system or your entire colony will be in danger. Eli helped her to a control panel covered in strange symbols. Lysithea placed her hand on a glowing section, then grabbed Eli's hand and placed it beside hers. A shock ran through Eli's body. The symbols on the panel suddenly made sense to him, as if he had always known their meaning. The ship hummed to life around them. How did I do that? Eli asked, staring at his hand in wonder. Because you were born to, Lysithea said, her voice growing weaker. The dragons of Earth's old stories were my people. We came here long ago. Some stayed. Some had children with humans. She looked at him with meaning. Special children. Through the open hatch, Eli could see new lights in the sky. Not stars, ships, many of them descending toward New Eden Colony. The Voidborn, Lysithea whispered. They hunt us, hunt me. And now they will hunt you, but why me? I'm nobody. Lysithea managed a small smile despite her pain. You are far from nobody, Eli Harper. You are the key we have searched for across 1,000 worlds. She pointed to the control panel where symbols now glowed in response to Eli's presence. Look how the ship recognizes your blood. The blood of both human and Dracon. More warning sirens blared from the colony. The ships were getting closer. We need to hide, Eli said, making a quick decision. I know a place where you'll be safe until you heal. Then you can explain everything. As Eli helped Lysithea from the ship, 2 more women emerged from deeper compartments. They also had scale patterns on their skin, though less prominent than Lysithea's. One carried weapons Eli had never seen before. The other was checking some kind of device that projected images in the air. Princess, we must leave now, said the armed woman. We can't, Nyx, Lysithea replied. The drive core is damaged. And now we've found him. She nodded toward Eli, the pattern bearer. Both women looked at Eli with expressions of shock and wonder. Impossible, whispered the one called. Nyx, the colony sirens grew louder. In the distance, Eli could see strange aircraft hovering over New Eden. Believe it or not, Eli said, finding courage he didn't know he had. Right now we all need to hide. Follow me. As they moved away from the ship, it seemed to fade from sight, its surface blending with the surroundings. The life Eli had always known was ending, replaced by something stranger and more dangerous than he could have imagined. He was just a stable boy this morning. Now somehow he was the center of an alien conflict that threatened his entire world. 3 days passed since the crash. Eli had hidden Lysithea and her 2 companions in an old storage basement beneath the colony's farm buildings. No one used this place anymore. It was perfect for keeping secrets. We need to repair our ship, said Cassandra the pilot. Her fingers weren't normal human fingers. They looked like metal, with small lights that glowed when she worked on their devices. The main power core is damaged. Eli nodded, still trying to understand everything they had told him. According to Lysithea, the dragons in Earth's old stories were actually her people, the Draconid who had visited long ago. Some stayed and had children with humans. Eli was special because he had more Draconid blood than most. I still don't get why these Voidborn people want me, Eli said. He was sitting on an old crate while Cassandra attached a strange device to his temples. Your blood is the key, explained Lysithea. She was looking better now. Her wounds were healing fast. The Voidborn have been hunting my people for centuries. They want our genetic material, our DNA, to make weapons. But they need a catalyst. Someone with both human and Draconid genes to make their weapons work. Someone like you. But I never knew I was part alien. Most don't, said Nyx, the bodyguard. She was cleaning her weapons in the corner. Her eyes never stopped watching the entrance. The genes stay quiet until activated. Cassandra finished attaching the device to Eli's head. This will help us see if you can connect with our technology. All Draconid ships and systems are partly alive. They bond with users who have the right genetic pattern. When she turned on the device, Eli gasped. It felt like electricity running through his brain, but it didn't hurt. Instead, it opened something inside him. Suddenly, he could feel the metal parts around him. He could sense the energy flowing through Cassandra's tools. It was like having a new sense beyond seeing or hearing. "Amazing," whispered Cassandra, looking at readings on her device. "He's already forming neural pathways. This usually takes months of training for even full Draconid." Lysithea smiled. "I knew it. The prophecy speaks of one with human adaptability and Draconid power. The perfect bridge between worlds. What prophecy?" Eli asked. Before she could answer, they heard footsteps above. Everyone went quiet. Nyx pointed her weapon at the entrance. The door opened slowly and Eli relaxed when he saw who it was. "Melody, what are you doing here?" Melody Stewart was Eli's friend since childhood. Her brown hair was tied back and her eyes were wide with worry. "Eli, everyone's looking for you. The colony leaders think you helped those alien ships find us." She stopped when she saw the 3 Draconid women. "Oh, it's okay," Eli said quickly. "They're friends. This is Lysithea, Nyx, and Cassandra. They're not with the bad aliens." Melody stepped inside and closed the door. "Those other aliens, the Voidborn, they've surrounded the colony. They're searching every building. They've hurt people who tried to stop them." She looked at Eli with tears in her eyes. "Your house was destroyed. They think you know something." "We need to leave," Nyx said, standing up. "They'll find us eventually." "But your ship is damaged," Eli reminded them. "We've gathered enough materials to make basic repairs," Cassandra said. "Not perfect, but enough to fly." "I can help," Melody offered. Everyone looked at her in surprise. "I work in the supply depot. I can get things you need without anyone noticing." Lysithea studied Melody carefully. "Why would you help us?" "Your people are suffering because of our presence." "Because Eli trusts you," Melody said simply, "and I trust Eli." Over the next 2 days, Melody smuggled tools and materials to them. The Draconid women worked to repair their hidden ship, while teaching Eli more about his abilities. "Focus," Nyx told him during training. "Feel the energy flow through your body. Direct it with your mind," Eli concentrated. The small metal ball on the table in front of him trembled, then slowly rose into the air. The nanites, tiny machines and Draconid technology, responded to his thoughts. It was exhausting but amazing. The Draconid left genetic markers in certain human bloodlines, Lysithea explained as they worked. They were meant to activate when needed. "Your bloodline has the strongest markers we've ever seen." "But why? Why put dragon DNA in humans?" "Our worlds were meant to join someday," Lysithea said. The ancient Draconid saw potential in humanity. They believed that together, our species could achieve greatness. Outside their hiding place, things were getting worse. The Voidborn had set up a blockade around New Eden. No one could leave or enter. They continued searching houses and buildings. People who resisted were taken away. "They're looking for us," Cassandra said as she worked on a damaged circuit. "For you and the princess." "The colonists blame me," Eli said sadly. Melody had told him that people were angry at him. They thought he had brought this trouble to them somehow. "Is the ship ready yet?" Melody asked when she brought them food that evening. She looked nervous. "The Voidborn commander made an announcement today. They call her the Huntress. She said they'll start destroying parts of the colony if the fugitives don't surrender." "We need one more day," Cassandra said. "The navigation system is still offline." That night, Eli couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about all the people in danger because of him. People he had known his whole life. He slipped out of the basement and walked to where the ship was hidden under camouflage netting. As he approached, the ship's surface began to glow softly in response to his presence. Eli placed his hand on the hull. The metal felt warm, almost alive. With his new senses, he could feel the ship's systems like they were extensions of his own body. "Your name is Tiamat," he whispered, somehow knowing the ship's designation. "You're hurt, but you need to fly. People are counting on us," the ship hummed under his touch. Eli closed his eyes and let his consciousness flow into the ship's systems. He didn't understand how he knew what to do, but his hands moved across the control surfaces as if he had done this 1,000 times before. Hours passed as Eli worked with the ship's semi-conscious AI. When dawn came, he returned to the basement. "The ship is ready," he announced to the surprised Draconid women. "Tiamat is ready to fly." "Tiamat?" Lysithea asked, her eyes wide. "You know the ship's name? And you say it's ready?" "I fixed it." "Well, we fixed it together." Cassandra rushed to check his work. When she returned, her face showed amazement. "He's right. The ship is operational. Better than operational. It's bonded with him." Before they could discuss further, Melody burst into the basement. "They're coming!" The Voidborn found someone who saw Eli near the crash site. "They're searching this area now. We need to leave immediately," Nick said, gathering their equipment. As they prepared to flee, Eli made a decision. "I'm going to surrender myself." "What?" Lysithea grabbed his arm. "They'll kill you, or worse." "Not if I have a plan," Eli said. "But first, we need to get everyone to safety. And I need to warn the colony." They heard the sounds of Voidborn search parties getting closer. "Time was running out, trust me," Eli said. "I think I know why the dragons chose me." The Voidborn soldiers were only minutes away. Eli and the others could hear them searching nearby buildings. "We need to reach the ship," Cassandra said, gathering the last of their equipment. Nix peeked out the door. "There are too many of them between us and the ship." "We need a distraction." Eli closed his eyes, concentrating on his connection with Tiamat, the dragon ship. He could feel the vessel's systems responding to his thoughts, even from this distance. An idea formed in his mind. "I can create a distraction," he said. "Tiamat will help me." Lysithea looked concerned. "The bond between you is still new. Using it from a distance could be dangerous." "We don't have a choice," Eli replied. He focused harder, sending a clear command to the ship. A minute later, they heard a loud explosion from the other side of the agricultural sector. The Voidborn soldiers started running toward the noise. "That was Tiamat?" Melody asked, amazed. Eli nodded, feeling slightly dizzy from the effort. The ship released some energy from its power core. Nothing dangerous, but loud enough to draw them away. "Now's our chance," Nick said. The group moved quickly through the shadows of the colony buildings. They avoided the main paths where colonists might see them. Eli felt terrible about leaving without warning everyone, but there was no time. When they reached the hidden ship, Eli placed his hand on the hull. The camouflage covering disappeared, revealing Tiamat's sleek, dragon-shaped form. The ship's surface had changed since Eli had worked on it. The metal now had a pattern like scales, and sections glowed with blue energy. "It's beautiful," Melody whispered. "The ship has fully awakened," Lysithea said with awe. "It's responding to your genetic code, Eli." A section of the hull slid open, creating an entrance. They hurried inside as sounds of the Voidborn search parties grew closer again. Inside, the ship was alive with light. Control panels activated as Eli approached them. He sat in what felt like the pilot's chair, though it adjusted to fit his body perfectly. "Do you know how to fly this?" Melody asked nervously. "I think the ship will help me," Eli answered, placing his hands on the control surfaces. Information flowed into his mind, not words, but pure understanding. He could feel every system, every part of Tiamat, as if it were an extension of his own body. "Voidborn approaching," Nix warned, looking at a display showing the outside of the ship. "We need to leave now." "Everyone strap in," Eli said with a confidence he didn't know he possessed. As the others secured themselves in seats that formed from the ship's interior, Eli initiated the launch sequence. The ship hummed with power. Outside, the first Voidborn soldiers appeared, pointing their weapons at the vessel. "Now or never," Eli whispered. He pushed a mental command to Tiamat. The ship shot upward with incredible speed, breaking through the agricultural dome of New Eden Colony. Glass and metal rained down as they burst into open air. Warning alarms blared throughout the colony below. "We did it," Cassandra said, checking the systems. "But they'll be after us soon." She was right. On the displays, they could see smaller Voidborn ships launching from various points around the colony. They looked like predatory insects made of metal, their weapons already charging. "I need to protect the colony," Eli said, his hands moving across the controls. "These people are innocent." The ship responded to his concern. Dragon-like protrusions formed along Tiamat's hull, generating a defensive field around the vessel. When the first Voidborn ships fired, their energy weapons scattered harmlessly against this shield. "Incredible," Lysithea said, watching Eli work with the ship. "You're controlling defensive systems that usually require years of training." Eli didn't have time to feel proud. More enemy ships were approaching. He focused on Tiamat's weapons systems, which activated under his mental command. Beams of blue energy shot from the dragon-shaped protrusions, striking two pursuing vessels. They spiraled down, crashing away from the colony buildings. "You're a natural," Cassandra remarked, helping to monitor the ship's systems. They climbed higher, breaking through the clouds. Eli felt a moment of exhilaration. He had dreamed of seeing the stars up close, and now he was flying among them. Below, Earth grew smaller as they approached the edge of the atmosphere. The victory was short-lived. A massive shadow appeared above them, blocking the stars. It was an enormous ship, shaped like the skeleton of some ancient predator. It dwarfed Tiamat completely. "The Huntress's flagship," Lysithea whispered, her face pale. A message boomed across their communication system. A cold female voice spoke with calm menace. "Dragon vessel, you are surrounded. Return the Draconid Royal and the human hybrid to us immediately. Resistance will result in the destruction of the human settlement below." To emphasize the threat, the massive ship's weapon systems powered up, targeting New Eden Colony. "They'll kill everyone," Melody said, horrified. Eli felt sick. His attempt to escape had only made things worse. Now the entire colony would pay for his actions. He looked at Lysithea, silently asking for advice. "The Huntress never makes empty threats," Lysithea said grimly. "She will destroy your home if we don't surrender." Eli closed his eyes, thinking desperately. Then he felt something new through his connection with Tiamat, another ability he hadn't known about. The ship could project his consciousness, allowing him to reach out across distances. "I have an idea," he said, "but I need to concentrate." The others fell silent as Eli focused. Through Tiamat, he extended his mind downward, connecting with the colony below. He could sense every person, feeling their fear and confusion as they saw the massive ship in the sky above them. Using this connection, Eli sent a message to every colonist, appearing as a voice in their minds. "Seek shelter immediately. Go underground. This is Eli Harper. I'm trying to protect you." The colonists reacted with surprise, but many recognized his voice and began moving to the emergency shelters beneath the colony. Next, Eli projected his consciousness upward, to the Huntress's flagship. He couldn't reach everyone there, but he found the command center where the Huntress herself stood. She was tall and thin, wearing bone-white armor that seemed fused to her body. Her skin was pale blue with no scales like the Draconid, but with sharp ridges along her skull instead of hair. "I will surrender myself." Eli sent his thoughts directly to her. "But you must spare the colony and my friends." The Huntress tilted her head, surprised by the mental intrusion. Her lips curved in a cruel smile. "The hybrid speaks," she said aloud to her officers. "And he thinks he can bargain." She sent a reply to Eli's mind. "Come alone to my ship. The colony will be spared for now. The Draconid princess must remain where she is until you arrive." Eli withdrew his consciousness back to Tiamat. He felt drained but determined. "I'm going to surrender myself," he announced to the others. "No," Lysithea and Melody said at the same time. "It's a trap," Nyx added. "The Huntress will never let any of us go." "I don't plan to actually surrender," Eli explained. "But I need to get onto her ship. There's something I need to do there." "What exactly?" Cassandra asked. "I'm not sure yet," Eli admitted. "But Tiamat is showing me possibilities. Ways I might be able to stop the Huntress without endangering the colony." Lysithea placed a hand on his shoulder. "Whatever you're planning, you won't go alone. We'll find a way to help you. The Huntress wants me to come alone or she'll destroy the colony." "Then we'll need to be clever," Lysithea said. She turned to Cassandra. "Can you create a quantum signature mask? Make it seem like Eli is alone on the ship?" Cassandra nodded. "I think so. The Huntress will detect only one life form, but we can hide in the ship's systems." "And I'm coming too," Melody said firmly. When everyone looked at her in surprise, she added, "This is my home they're threatening. I want to help protect it." Eli wanted to argue to keep Melody safe, but there was no time. The Huntress would be expecting his response. Through Tiamat, he sent another message to the flagship. "I accept your terms. I'm coming aboard." The massive ship's hangar bay opened like the maw of a giant beast. Eli piloted Tiamat toward it, feeling the ship's reluctance through their connection. The dragon vessel didn't want to enter the Predator's mouth. "It's okay," Eli whispered to Tiamat. "We're going to fight back, but first we need to get inside." As they approached the hangar, Eli felt his resolve strengthen. He was no longer just a stable boy from New Eden Colony. He was something more. The bridge between worlds, carrying the legacy of ancient dragons in his blood. And he was about to show the Huntress exactly what that meant. The Huntress's flagship swallowed Tiamat like a great beast consuming its prey. The dragon ship landed in a vast hangar filled with other vessels and armed void-born soldiers. Their armor was black with glowing purple lines, and their helmets had no eye holes, just smooth reflective surfaces. Remember the plan? Eli whispered to the others. Stay hidden until I give the signal. Thanks to Cassandra's quantum signature mask, the Voidborn scanners would detect only Eli on board the ship. The others would hide in a special compartment shielded from sensors. Eli stepped out of Tiamat alone, his hands raised in surrender. 6 Voidborn soldiers immediately surrounded him, their weapons pointed at his chest. The hybrid will come with us, one of them said in a flat voice. The Huntress is waiting. They placed restraints on his wrists, metal bands that seemed to move like living things tightening around his skin. Eli could feel them suppressing his connection to Tiamat, but not completely. A thin thread of awareness remained, just as Lysithea had predicted. The soldiers led Eli through the massive ship. The corridors were dark and cold, with strange organic patterns growing along the walls. It didn't feel like a normal spacecraft, it felt alive, but in a sick, wrong way. They arrived at a large chamber with high ceilings. In the center stood the Huntress, exactly as Eli had seen in his mental projection. Her bone-white armor gleamed under harsh lights. Up close, he could see that the ridges on her skull weren't just decorative. They were sensory organs, twitching slightly as she studied him. The human draconid hybrid, she said, her voice surprisingly soft but with a metallic undertone. Do you know how long we've searched for someone like you? Around the room, Eli saw Voidborn scientists working at stations filled with bubbling tanks and strange equipment. In some tanks floated body parts that looked like draconid scales and organs. Why do you need me? Eli asked, though he already knew part of the answer. The Huntress gestured for him to follow. They walked to a large transparent container filled with swirling black and purple liquid. Inside, something was taking shape, something with wings and a long body. For centuries, we've tried to harness draconid biological technology, the Huntress explained. Their living ships, their ability to bond with machines, their weapons that grow rather than being built. We've captured and dissected hundreds of draconid, but we could never make their technology work for us. She looked at Eli with hungry eyes, until we learned about hybrids like you. You're creating weapons, Eli said, looking at the thing in the tank. We're creating the future, the Huntress corrected. The Voidborn were once like other species, limited by our physical forms. But we evolved. We merged with our technology, and now we will merge with draconid power. She touched the tank lovingly. These new life forms will change everything. They will bond with Voidborn pilots, creating perfect weapons. Weapons that grow stronger with use, that can repair themselves, that can evolve. Eli felt sick. And you need my DNA to make it work. Your unique genetic structure is the bridge that will allow us to stabilize these creations, the Huntress confirmed. Without it, they collapse into chaos within days. With it, they become perfect, she signaled to the scientists. 2 of them approached with medical equipment. The extraction process won't be pleasant, the Huntress said without emotion. But don't worry. We won't kill you. Your body will continue producing the genetic material we need. You'll serve the Voidborn Empire for many years. They strapped Eli to a laboratory table. One scientist prepared a large needle connected to tubes and containers. Eli tried not to show fear, but his heart was racing. He needed to keep the Huntress talking until the right moment. Why do you hate the draconid so much? He asked. The Huntress studied him for a moment before answering. We don't hate them. We simply recognize that they are a resource to be used. Just as your human colonies use animals and plants, we use other species. But you're destroying entire worlds. Evolution requires sacrifice, she replied coldly. The Voidborn were nearly extinct once. We survived by adapting, by taking what we needed from others. The weak perish, the strong consume. That is the only law that matters. The scientist approached with the needle. Eli knew he couldn't wait any longer. Through his faint connection with Tiamat, he sent the signal, a single mental command. Far away in the hangar, the dragon ship responded. Its systems activated silently, sending a quantum pulse through the flagship structure. The pulse disabled security systems and created a momentary blind spot in the Voidborn sensors. In that blind spot, Lysithea, Nyx, and Cassandra slipped out of Tiamat and began moving through the ship. Melody stayed behind, protected inside the dragon vessel. Your colony will be spared as promised, the Huntress told Eli as the needle came closer to his skin. It's too small to matter, but the draconid princess will find her eventually, and when we do, her genetic material will add even more power to our creations. The needle touched Eli's arm. At that exact moment, he felt something change inside him. The draconid genes that had been slowly awakening were now fully activated by the stress and danger. Power surged through his body, stronger than anything he had felt before. The restraints holding him began to vibrate. The needle cracked and fell apart. The scientist stepped back in alarm. "What is happening?" the huntress demanded, her sensory ridges standing straight up. Eli felt his skin hardening in places, forming patterns of scales that shimmered with inner light. His eyes burned, and he knew without seeing that they had changed, becoming more like Lysithea's with vertical pupils that glowed. "Impossible," whispered one of the scientists. "The hybrid is transforming." With a surge of strength, Eli broke free of his restraints. The huntress backed away, signaling to guards who rushed forward with weapons. Before they could fire, a wave of energy erupted from Eli's body, knocking them off their feet. The most amazing change came next. From Eli's back, wings formed, not physical wings, but constructs of pure energy that looked like the wings of a dragon. They spread wide, filling the laboratory with blue-green light. The huntress recovered quickly from her surprise. She pressed a control on her armor, and blades extended from her forearms. "Remarkable," she said. "All the more valuable you'll be to us once we subdue you." She leaped forward with incredible speed, her blades aimed at Eli's chest. But his new reflexes allowed him to dodge just in time. He grabbed her arm and felt power flowing from his hand. The huntress's armor began to crack where he touched it. She pulled away, looking at her damaged armor in shock. "The hybrid can affect our technology. Contain him immediately." More guards rushed in. Eli raised his hands instinctively, and energy shot from his palms, creating a shield around himself. The guards' weapons fired, but their energy beams scattered harmlessly against his protection. Through his connection with Tiamat, now stronger than ever, Eli could sense Lysithea and the others getting closer. They had fought their way through several squads of Voidborn soldiers. The huntress realized something was wrong. She touched her communication device. "The princess is on board." "Find her." "Too late," Eli said, his voice carrying new harmonics that made the air vibrate. "You shouldn't have brought me to your ship." At that moment, the laboratory doors burst open. Lysithea, Nyx, and Cassandra rushed in, weapons ready. They stopped in amazement when they saw Eli's transformed appearance. "The prophecy," Lysithea gasped. "It's true." The huntress snarled and attacked again, this time going for Lysithea. Nyx intercepted her, the two warriors clashing in a blur of movement. Cassandra used her technology to disable the laboratory equipment while Lysithea ran to Eli's side. "Your transformation wasn't supposed to happen this fast," she said, concerned. "It could be dangerous." "It feels right," Eli replied. He looked at the tanks around the room, where the Voidborn were creating their twisted versions of draconid lifeforms. "We need to stop this." "All of it," Lysithea nodded. Together they began destroying the laboratory equipment while Nyx continued fighting the huntress. Scientists fled in panic as energy discharges filled the room. The huntress knocked Nyx down with a powerful blow. She turned toward Eli and Lysithea, fury in her eyes. "You cannot stop what we've begun. The Voidborn will have this power, with or without you." She pressed another control on her armor. Alarms blared throughout the ship. "If I can't have you, no one will. This ship will self-destruct in 10 minutes. Your colony will be destroyed in the blast." Before anyone could stop her, the huntress activated a personal teleportation device and disappeared in a flash of purple light. "We need to get to Tiamat," Cassandra shouted, helping Nyx to her feet. Eli closed his eyes, extending his senses through the flagship. He could feel the self-destruct sequence starting, energy building in the ship's core, but he could also feel something else. The ship's main systems, similar enough to draconid technology that he could interface with them. "I can stop it," he said, his energy wings spreading wider. "But I need time." "We'll hold off the guards," Nyx said, readying her weapons as sounds of approaching soldiers echoed from the corridor. 1 month had passed since their escape from the Huntress's flagship. Eli stood on a hilltop overlooking New Eden Colony, watching workers repair the damaged dome. His home looked small now after everything he had seen. "Are you ready?" Lysithea asked, joining him on the hill. She wore simple earth clothes, but nothing could hide her alien beauty or the opalescent scales at her temples. "I don't know if I'll ever be ready," Eli admitted. "Everything is happening so fast." After returning to Earth, they had faced many challenges. The colony leaders had been angry at first, blaming Eli for the Voidborn attack. But when more void-born ships appeared in orbit a week later, threatening all of Earth, people began to listen. Eli's transformation had continued, though more slowly now. His eyes remained changed, vertical pupils surrounded by irises that glowed faintly in the dark. Patches of scales appeared on his skin in patterns like circuit boards, and while the energy wings only manifested when he needed them, he could feel their power always present inside him. "The Earth government representatives will be here soon," Lysithea said. "They need to understand what we're facing." In the valley below, they could see Tiamat and 2 other Draconid ships that had arrived from hiding places around Earth. More Draconid refugees had emerged in recent weeks, survivors who had been living secretly among humans for generations. They all recognized Eli as something special, something prophesied. "I still don't understand why the ancient Draconid put their DNA in human bloodlines," Eli said. "They saw something in humanity," Lysithea explained. "Adaptability, creativity, determination. Qualities the Draconid had lost over centuries of technological advancement. They believed that someday a perfect hybrid would emerge, someone who could unite both species against common threats, like the Voidborn." "Exactly. The prophecy speaks of the Dragon Ascendant, a bridge between worlds who would awaken when both species faced extinction." Melody approached, carrying data tablets. She had become their liaison with the colony leaders, explaining alien concepts in terms humans could understand. "The government officials have landed," she announced. "They brought scientists and military leaders." Eli nodded, taking a deep breath. "Let's go meet them." The meeting took place in New Eden's community hall. Representatives from major Earth governments sat at long tables, their faces showing a mixture of fear, wonder, and skepticism. Cassandra had set up holographic displays showing the Voidborn threat, their fleet positioning, their weapons capabilities, and their plans based on data recovered from the Huntress's ship. "As you can see," Eli explained, pointing to the displays, "the Voidborn see Earth as a resource to be harvested. They want human test subjects for their experiments. They want Draconid genetic material, and they especially want hybrids like me. Why should we believe any of this?" asked one official, a stern woman from the Asian Alliance. "These aliens appear and suddenly we're in danger? Convenient for them." Nick stepped forward, her patience clearly thin. "The Voidborn have destroyed 12 civilizations in the last century. We Draconid have been fighting them alone because we had no choice. Now they found Earth, believe us or not, they're coming." A military general stood up. "Even if we accept this threat is real, what can we do?" "You've shown us their technology. It's far beyond our capabilities." "Not anymore," Eli said. He nodded to Lysithea, who activated another holographic display. It showed a human figure merging with Draconid technology, similar to Eli's transformation but less extreme. "The Draconid are willing to share their technology with us, and more importantly, they can help awaken the dormant Draconid genes in compatible humans." Shocked murmurs spread through the room. "You mean there are more people like you?" asked a scientist. "Not exactly like me," Eli clarified. "My bloodline has the strongest connection to the ancient Draconid visitors. But Cassandra estimates there could be thousands of humans worldwide with some level of compatibility. Enough to form a defense force capable of operating Draconid technology." The debate continued for hours. Some officials were horrified at the idea of activating alien DNA in humans. Others saw it as their only hope against the Voidborn threat. Eventually, a vote was taken. By a narrow margin, they agreed to begin testing for compatible humans and to form an alliance with the Draconid refugees. As the meeting ended, Eli stepped outside for fresh air. His enhanced senses detected a disturbance in the atmosphere long before human instruments would notice it. "They're coming," he said when Lysithea joined him. "Sooner than we expected." She followed his gaze to the sky. "How many?" "At least 30 ships, including a new flagship." Through his connection with Tiamat, Eli could sense the approaching vessels. "The Huntress wants revenge." Word spread quickly. The Earth officials were evacuated while colony residents hurried to shelters. Eli and the Draconid prepared their 3 ships, not nearly enough to face the coming fleet. "We need more time," Cassandra said, working frantically on communication equipment. "The other Draconid hiding on Earth are coming, but they're scattered around the globe." "I'll buy us time," Eli decided. Tiamat and I can distract them while you evacuate as many people as possible. That's suicide, Melody protested. Even with your abilities, you can't fight an entire fleet. I don't plan to fight them, Eli said. Just to keep their attention. Before anyone could stop him, he ran to where Tiamat waited. The ship's hull opened for him immediately, the systems coming to life as he took the pilot's position. Through their bond, Eli could feel Tiamat's eagerness for flight, despite the danger. The dragon ship launched into the sky, its surface gleaming in the sunlight. Eli pushed it to maximum speed, heading directly toward the approaching Voidborn fleet. His plan was simple but desperate. Use his unique energy signature to draw the Voidborn away from Earth, giving the others time to prepare. As he approached the enemy fleet, Eli opened a communication channel. The Huntress's face appeared on a display, her expression showing surprise that quickly turned to hunger. "The hybrid returns," she said. "Have you reconsidered my offer?" "I have a counter-offer," Eli replied. "Leave Earth alone and I'll surrender myself to you." The Huntress laughed, a cold sound like metal scraping metal. "You're in no position to bargain. We will take you and we will take Earth. Then catch me first." Eli cut the communication and sent Tiamat into a series of maneuvers that no human pilot could have survived. The ship responded perfectly to his thoughts, moving like a living dragon through space. The Voidborn fleet gave chase, just as he had hoped. Their smaller ships surrounded him, firing weapons that Tiamat barely dodged. The Huntress's new flagship stayed back, directing the attack. For nearly an hour, Eli led them on a chase through Earth's upper atmosphere. Tiamat took damage, but the ship's self-repairing systems worked constantly to maintain integrity. Eli pushed his transformation further, drawing more power from his draconid genes to enhance his connection with the ship. When he could no longer maintain the distraction, Eli turned Tiamat back toward Earth. The Voidborn fleet followed, but something had changed. New ships were rising from Earth's surface, dozens of them with the distinctive dragon-shaped hulls of draconid vessels. "Eli, do you read me?" Lysithia's voice came through the communication system. "The other refugees arrived, and we've found compatible humans to help operate the ships." Relief flooded through Eli. He wasn't alone anymore. The Earth draconid fleet engaged the Voidborn, their smaller numbers made up for by the element of surprise. Eli joined the battle, Tiamat moving seamlessly with the other ships as if they had trained together for years. The tide turned when 5 massive ships appeared from behind Earth's moon. They were ancient draconid battleships hidden there centuries ago as a last resort. The Elders activated the Guardian fleet, Lysithea explained over the communication channel. They were waiting for the Dragon Ascendant to appear. The battle ended quickly after that. The Voidborn fleet, outmatched and surrounded, began to retreat. Only the Huntress's flagship remained, still approaching Earth with weapons charged. "She won't give up," Eli said, directing Tiamat toward the massive ship. "She'll destroy as much as she can out of spite." 6 draconid vessels joined him, forming a pattern around Tiamat. Energy beams connected the ships, creating a network of power with Eli at the center. He felt the other pilots, some draconid, some newly awakened humans, linking their consciousness with his. Together, they created something new, a gestalt entity, a combined force greater than its parts. Energy wings spread from all 7 ships, joining to form the shape of an enormous dragon in space. The Huntress's flagship fired its main weapon, a beam of destructive energy that could have leveled a city. The dragon formation absorbed the attack, channeling it through the network and back to Eli. His transformed body processed the energy, purified it and redirected it. A beam of pure blue-white force shot from Tiamat, striking the Huntress's flagship. The massive vessel shuddered, then broke apart as the energy overloaded its systems. In the final moments before her ship's destruction, the Huntress sent one last message. "This isn't over, hybrid. The Voidborn are legion. We will return."